I'm Laura Ray, and today I'm going to share with you some of the best affordable makeup out there. Some of these are brand new products, some of them are longtime favorites. Many of you have asked me about this product, so you were the inspiration for the video. This is the Revlon Cream Eyeshadow that's been out for a long time, but is very popular because a lot of the cream shadows coming out initially were very expensive, like Charlotte Tilbury. Some of these run $38, $40. And this one's been out a long time from Revlon. It's part of their Color Stay line. And this shade is Caramel, one of my favorites. And some of you have written me questions about application of the product and that type of thing. So I thought, let's have an affordable video that I would use this makeup on my skin that's 60. I don't have any makeup on right now. I am just barefaced. And I double cleansed last night, so hopefully my skin is super clean. I'm going to clip my hair back. We're going to start with my Numbuzz, and you're probably tired of hearing about it, but it is just such an amazing product. It's so thin. I especially like to use it if I was doing a video because I don't have a lot of time for the skincare to sink in. And this just goes in very quickly. It's their skin softening, and it's number 3. And this just really hydrates the skin. It's very thin. It helps with pores too. It helps with the pores not being enlarged. And I stopped using it for a while back, and I noticed so much texture right in here. And I was like, what is going on with my skin? And it was because I wasn't using it. I was trying something else. So I went back to it. Now, next, I'm going to put on some eye cream. And again, we're talking affordable. The Numbuzzin's very affordable and lasts a long time. I'm on the last few drops of this bottle. I'm going to use the Peeper Keeper Bright Eyes. This has caffeine. It's from the company Be Naturals. I'm on the end of this too. I'm going to have to make a list of stuff I need to repurchase. But this really helps. I had pretty good sleep last night, so that was good. So my under eyes don't look terrible, but this really helps keep them hydrated. Everything, again, in this video is going to be affordable price drugstore. Affordable means different things to different people. So I want to sort of define what affordable is going to be. And it's going to be drugstore price. So this is the CeraVe Hydrating Mineral Sunscreen. This is one with a sheer tint, and it works great for me. I really like it. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. It looks a little separated. So let's shake that up. And I'm just going to move the product around a little bit so it mixes well. Tints can protect you from lights from phones and computers. And being that I work probably 50 hours or 60 hours a week on YouTube and Instagram, I am in front of a screen more than I really want to be because it's just part of what I do. So I have been very diligent with wearing a tinted sunscreen. I used to just wear regular sunscreen, but then I did some research on tinted sunscreens, and they said the tint that they put into the sunscreen will help protect from the light coming off phones and off computers. So I wear tinted pretty much now all the time. I have some I'm using up before I read that research, but after that, I'm just going to buy tinted sunscreen. This one has a nice sort of neutral tint to it. I have neutral skin. When I look at my veins, they're not totally blue, they're not totally green, they're somewhere in the middle. So I have what you would call a neutral skin tone, and I would say I'm on the end of light, the beginning of medium, depending on the time of year. I never go out and lay in the sun, but I'm out just for doing things in the yard, gardening, walking, activities. So this is the coverage I get from the CeraVe. Now, I can't stand not having something on my lips. I have been loving this from Wet n Wild. I haven't tried this shade yet. So this shade's called Dress Code, but I bought a couple of these and I loved it. I love the feel. It's a nice lightweight lip oil. Some of you I know don't like the fat oil from NYX because you feel it's too heavy, too thick. This is much thinner. Oh, I like that. I like the shade. This feels to me more like the Clarins I bought. I bought that to try to find a dupe for it. This sort of has that thinner feel. Really nice. I like the way it feels on my lips. So now we've sort of got things going here. Let's go ahead and do the brows. I like to do my brows and eyes while my sunscreen sort of sets before I apply any foundation or anything on top. Now, when I use the Revlon, I don't usually use an eyeshadow primer. It's one of the only products, when I use a cream shadow, usually it sets on its own and I don't need a primer. So we're not going to use a primer for that, but let's go ahead and do the brows. I have been obsessed with this product from Essence for a long time, the Thick Wow. I also like the one from e.l.f. I don't have that right now. Let's go ahead and just brush this into the brows. I think one reason I like this is it's just so effortless. It's so easy to comb through the hair. Now, if you've lost hair in your brows, then this is sort of good as a base, but then you'll want to go in with a pencil to fill in areas or a powder. But I like this sort of like a base coat, like you do on your nails, and brush multiple directions. That's what I do to thicken them. It's sort of like you're coating all sides of the hair. So that's a tip I would give if you've never used a product like this, is to thicken your brows, sort of brush the wrong way against the hair and then brush the other way. My daughter said the other day, she said, "Mom, I think you need a little more brow." She was watching one of my videos and I always ask her, "How do you like the look? What do you think I could improve on?" She says, "I think you need to go back to a little bit more brow." So I'm going to add this pencil. This is from CoverGirl. I also use this as eyeliner because it creates such a beautiful smoky look. It's the CoverGirl Perfect Blend. And so I'm going to go in and follow Danielle's advice and sort of thicken the brow. And I think she's right. I could use a little more brow. Our brows are the frame of the eyes. You know, one thing I always love about my children is when they suggest things, they always say it in such a kind way. That doesn't always happen on YouTube. Some of the criticisms that come across are not always so kind. So it makes me feel good that I raised daughters that are so kind when they are trying to be helpful and are asked for their opinion. They say it in a way that's just very helpful. And that makes me feel good. I think turning 60 has caused me to reflect a lot on my life. I'm going to use the end of this to blend a little bit. It's sort of like using the wedge sponge I've been using. You could take a wedge sponge too and just sort of go through the brows like this to blend, and it'll take off any, extra product you don't need. But for those of you that are already 60, will you share a little bit about that year and how it was for you? For me, I think there's a lot of reflecting, especially leaving my teaching career, retiring from teaching. That caused me to think a lot about my life. I'm going to give myself a little more above the brow, a little more hair. I always tend to think more about shaping the bottom, but shaping the top can really give you a fuller brow. I'm going to do a little more blending before I finish. Now off to the side I have a mirror here. On the other side is a 10 times mirror That is so helpful. If you don't have a magnifying mirror, I'll put the one I have. It's super affordable. I just bought it off Amazon. But that's really important as we age. Sometimes it's difficult to see, especially doing eye work. So if you don't have a good mirror, you don't have to spend a lot of money for one. This was very affordable and really is helpful. So I think I've got some good brows going there. Now I have the shape that I'm going to work with. I always like to do the brows first. Now, a trick that one of my favorite makeup artists, Victoria Jackson, does is applies liner before shadow. And the reason she does that is because she wants the fully defined eye before you start adding shadow. And that helps to not add too much shadow. You're wanting to get really definition to the eyes. So I have a new eyeliner that I'm obsessed with. It's the CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus Lash Line. This is super fine and it's made to easily get down into the lash line. And I bought it recently and I just was amazed by it because I could get that little baby wing that I'm always loving for a lift to the eye. I could really get down into the lash line. So that's what I'm going to use today. Another liner from CoverGirl that I love is this one. It's called the Perfect Point Plus Ink Liner. Now this one is not as thin. It's a little thicker. This one's in number 285, and this one's Breezy Brown. I think this is actually a bronzy. Yes, this is the one I bought that's bronze. And that really goes with this. So maybe we'll use this in the lower lash line. I think that will work great. Okay, so I like to start at the edge of the eye. It's personal preference. I like to start here on the diagonal and just sort of pencil in that line that I'm going to do for the lift. And I can always blend it out. Don't feel stressed about getting this perfectly smooth line. I used to feel that way, but now I usually go back with some kind of blending sponge and smoke it out anyway, so it doesn't have to be so perfect. And then I go right into the lash line. I don't go with the liner all the way to the inner part of the eye like a lot of people do because my eyes are very close set. If you look here, they say if you don't have the same size as your eye in between your eyes, they're more close set. So mine lean towards deep set and close set, so I don't bring the line all the way in. Now what I'm going to do is just take my blender. I have my favorite wedge sponge here. They come in a pack of 100 for a little over $7, maybe $8, and I'm just going to blend that line. Now, another friend for me is a Q-tip. So if it blends down below where I want it, I can always take a little of my Be Natural, some eye cream, just put it on there, or even just take it and just sort of roll the Q-tip. I just roll along the edge to clean it up. But I usually go back at the end when I'm fully done and just clean everything up. Let's go ahead and take the other pencil because I wanted to show you this. It reminds me of a color like you would see in Urban Decay. Urban Decay has the most beautiful eyeliners, but they're pricier. And this has that bronze look like those pencils do. They have those unique shades. So I'm just going in the outer third and I'm connecting to the other line that I made. I really like that liner. Let's go ahead and line the other eye and then we'll start in with our Revlon. Now I am going to hold my eye this time. I need to for my left eye for some reason. So I'm going to start on the edge, create that line at an angle. I'm not going at the bottom of my eye because that would make my eyes look very downward turned. So I'm going up at an angle and sort of skipping the edge and then bringing it in. Now, I'm sure someone will ask me in the comments, does this pencil work great in the waterline? And I don't apply pencils there. I just feel like it's a potential for eye issues and my eye doctor doesn't recommend that. Most eye doctors don't recommend putting the pencil on the actual waterline, so that's why I don't do it. By the way, these sponges, wedge sponges, can be washed. So we often will see these like at makeup counters where they're testing makeup or putting it on to clients and they throw them away. And they need to because they're using them on different people. But when you're buying it for yourself, you can actually wash these. I wash them with Ivory soap, let them dry just like you would a regular beauty blender. And then I just use them again. So you don't have to rebuy them all the time. And we're not filling the landfills full of makeup sponges. I'm just going to blend a little of the bronze into this. I'm not so worried about everything being just so right now because we're going to put eyeshadow on and I can go on at the end and blend that. So what I want to show you is a really unique tool. I've been having fun playing with this. This is from Revlon. I showed one recently I bought on Amazon, which I also love, but it had only one surface and it's for applying lipstick. This can be used for lipstick and eyeshadow on this end, and on this end for bigger surfaces like your cheeks for blush, for highlighter, for contour. So I thought it would be fun to try using this shadow with this and see if it works. It's supposed to replicate your fingertip. And I always have trouble getting to the inner corner of my eyes with this shadow or any other cream shadow because of the shape of my eyes. So I'm going to just rub on the surface and you can see the product there. It really picked it up great. And I'm just going to sort of stamp it onto the lid. Now I haven't tried this with cream shadow yet. I've tried it with a lot of other products, but I'm just sort of slowly trying things I already have with this applicator. But I'm telling you, this is going on amazing. Much easier than my finger, especially when it comes to getting in the corner here. Oh my gosh, I love it. We'll do the other eye again. This is the shade Caramel, which is number 710. And again, I don't put eye primer on. I feel like that just really makes it worse, that this applies and stays on beautifully without any eyeshadow primer. This also works great on top of powder. So you could put a powder shadow and put some of this on top, and I think you'd be really happy. Wow, this is gorgeous. I love it. That is beautiful. Now I bought a second shade that's my favorite because I didn't want to share just one shade, and it's 705 Creme Brulee. Oh my gosh, this is a first. I could not get this open. I had to actually go wake up my husband to open it so I could finish the video. He said, "Don't worry, I was just about to wake up." I'm still waking up at 4 a.m. He thankfully said he was about to get up. I felt so guilty waking him, but I couldn't get the packaging open. This is the shade Creme Brulee. It is so beautiful. I could not use it. And this is perfect for like the center of the eye. It's really light. It's just beautiful, but look at the lightness that it adds to the eye. I like to use this on the inner portion of the eye when I do this look. These are two shades that I've had numerous times. These will last a good year and then they dry out. So that's something to consider with any cream product. You have to accept that they're going to dry out. And, you know, if I wasn't on YouTube and I just had a smaller collection of makeup, I'd probably use this close to every day on top of powder. So I would use it up anyway. But being I have so many different products that I'm always trying, I never use this up and I end up just having to repurchase. Something you may not know is that there's actually a brush in the lid. Let's see if I can get that out. Oh my gosh, here it is. And it's a little brush. I don't usually use it, but you could use it to blend. I much prefer this tool from Revlon. That went on so easy. I blended out the edges easily also. And what you can do if you want a little bit of something up in that underbrow area, I have this powder from Sephora that is so much like the Pat McGrath powder that I raved about for blending shadow. I'm going to take this fluffy brush from Profusion. It's actually a pointed brush, but it's got some fluff to it. Go into the powder, push it into my hand first, and then go around the edges of this and under the brow. This is a yellow powder. It's called their Micro Smooth powder. I bought the shade Beige Light Yellow. And it's just beautiful for not only using on the face to sort of brighten, but also for this area under the brow without it being too much, without, say, a very bright highlighter. I also like to take this and blend around the edges of the eyeshadow just to sort of bring it all together. But what a beautiful look this shadow has. It looks very Charlotte-esque, but the Revlon is so affordable. If you're enjoying this video or you find it helpful, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to take this wedge sponge and just sort of clean up a few things. Now these sponges, you can actually wet. I don't have a sink in my filming room, so I just take this Avène and I spray the sponge to get it damp. And then this helps it glide a little bit better. I like to have it damp when I use my foundation, and I can see little bits of product coming off as I clean up, but I just really love this eye look. It's very simple. If I weren't explaining it, I could do this in under a minute, probably put the shadows on a minute or two. So it's really simple and easy to do. I'm going to go ahead and put on my e.l.f. lash extender. I've talked about this so much. I've tried numerous tubing mascaras, and I keep going back to the e.l.f. because I just love the way it looks, the way it makes my lashes look, and important to me is the longevity, how it looks great throughout the day, and I don't have any mess in the under eyes. So that's something that's very important to me. I also like that I can put a little bit on the lower lashes. I don't want a lot. I don't want big lashes, but I'd sort of like them to show up. So putting that little bit in the under eye, I feel like makes my lashes more noticeable because I don't have super long lashes, and I can get right at the base. I would love to know in the comments if you've tried a tubing mascara. I just love this because it washes off easily with water. Easier, I think, than waterproof mascara does. And also, like, even if you do cry, I didn't have the tubes come off. I've cried with this on, and the tubes didn't come off. It wasn't enough. You really have to put water on them. I usually wet a Q-tip and sort of go over it and sort of let them gently fall off. But they're not going to come off just because you get a little wet in the rain. I've gotten wet in the rain too. And it just stays on beautifully. Now we're going to go ahead and do the skin. And one of my favorite foundations that's come out recently from Revlon is the Skin Caring Foundation. I think this Illuminance has just done a beautiful job on my skin. But they've come out recently with a different serum tint, and I wanted to show you that. I don't think I've shown that at all. I took this on my vacation to test it out, and I thought it looked really natural, and I really liked the feel of it. So I bought the shade 209. I could have gone deeper with it. I feel like this shade isn't deep enough for me, but I'm going to put on some bronzer today and some other things so we can make it work. But I do want to repurchase in a deeper shade. But this is pretty light for me. It's lighter than the sunscreen. So I might just even mix a little more sunscreen to deepen the look. But I love the feel of this. That's why I wanted to show you. I think it really is a great product for those of us over 60 or 60. Usually we want something that just sort of covers up hyperpigmentation and those kinds of things. You could always go over any areas that are challenging with a concealer. And I'm going to show this one today from number 7. It's a beautiful concealer. But what I like too is this serum just mixes well with the sunscreen. You can see that you really can't tell where one product begins or the other because this is so thin and has that serum feel. You can see it running down my arm, how quickly it goes. So it's a very thin product and spreads easily. Look at how easily it spreads with the sponge. Maybe it's better, it's a little lighter so you can see it on my skin, maybe a little better on camera. But I will go out and purchase a deeper shade of this. Sometimes I find when I do that, I'll end up mixing the shades to get a shade that's the best for me. I also like I can bring this in the under eye and it doesn't get into wrinkles or fine lines. So I think this is a beautiful product that Revlon's come out with. I definitely need a deeper shade. What I'm going to do too is go back and sort of buff my skin. Once this dries down a little bit, we'll go back and sort of buff and take off any extra product. Now, something I've been enjoying so much, I repurchased this, I've had it before, is this palette from NYX. This is such a great palette, about half the price of some of these contour highlighter type products. It's got multiple shades of contour, bronzer. Some of them lend, like this shade lends itself more to contouring because there's definitely more gray into it, where I see this is a warmer shade that works great for just bronzing. Then you have a highlighter. You've got some banana type powder that would work great in the under eye. So we're going to go ahead and use it today with my Profusion brushes. These brushes are just magnificent. I can't believe the price. I've even reordered some of them separately that I like so much. This is the angled powder brush, and I find angled brushes are really easy to work with when it comes to blush, contour, those types of things. So I'm going to go into that shade that I told you looks more contour and get some into the brush. And then I always rub it onto my hands so that I'm not going onto the face with so much product. It looks like the NYX did not pick up too heavy. So I'm just going to go right at the base of my cheekbone and then bring it up. Sometimes I will just like the look so much, the bronze, I won't bother with blush. I'll just be happy with the color that it is. I'll think, oh, that looks really summery looking, very tan, very healthy looking. Wow, I really like that color. I'm feeling that vibe now that like I really don't feel like putting blush on. Now, let's take that tool from Revlon and sort of see if it works well for blending the edges. It's supposed to be, like I said, like a finger, and I'm seeing that. I think this is really blending the edges out perfectly. I'm taking this small tapered brush from Profusion, and let's go into the banana looking powder and add a little highlight. I think those banana powders can work really good for highlighting the cheekbone without it looking unnatural, just giving you more of a sculpted look without people knowing. And I'm going to go back and let's put a little bit onto the forehead. I have a higher forehead, so I often like to add a little bronzer up at the top. It just sort of conceals that a little bit, And let's go around the jawline. And I'll bring it down onto the neck. I really like this top. I don't normally like turtlenecks, but actually I saw Lisa J with one about this much of a collar, and I thought she looks so cute in that. I want to try that. It looks so beautiful on her. And I ordered this from Amazon, and I really love the color and the look. I didn't have anything like this in my closet, so I'm glad that I purchased that. So thank you, Lisa, for the inspiration. I'm going to take that small jelly and go into the powder. See how much it picks up. And just sort of contour my nose a little bit. Try to make it a little more pointed. Now, I didn't pick up much powder on the end of this, but maybe that's a good thing. So I don't put too much on at one time. Just wanting a natural looking contour. I think that did contour the nose a little bit. I really need some concealer in here, So let's use this one from number 7, the Lift and Illuminate. I love number 7 products. There's so many that are great. This particular shade I bought is light medium, and it's made for sensitive skin. I've definitely got that. Let's go ahead and put some. I see a lot of discoloration here in my eyes, and the outer corner could use some work. And I'm going to be using that end. I'm cleaning off the contour. That's the nice thing about this. You can just take a towel and wipe it right off. And like I said, they said this is supposed to be like replicating a finger. So I can go even softer with it than I do with my finger, and I can get into areas my fingers can't get into. Sometimes when I'm trying to get in these corners, I almost poke myself with my nails, and I keep my nails so short, and still it's a problem. So that's why I really wanted to try this. And it's working beautifully. I would say this is softer than a makeup brush because it's made of like jelly. It has a jelly feel to it, so even softer than using a brush, which is great for mature eyes. Look at how nice that looks. That's plenty of product. That's another thing with this jelly applicator. There's nothing really for it to sink into, so you would use a lot less product. It spreads easier. You know, even when you use your finger, it absorbs into your skin, so you're losing product. Where this, you're not losing anything. So I can see I'm going to use less product than I normally would. Next time when I apply it, I won't apply so much. I really don't need that much. I like that this concealer has a little luminosity to it that really sort of brightens the under eye without something being so harsh, a harsh brightener. But I really love that. If you want more brightness, you feel this is too dull, I like this Skin Lights from Revlon. This is very affordable. It's their Face Glow Illuminator. And I bought the shade Sunrise 300. So I thought we would put a dab of that. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand, and we'll use the jelly applicator. I'll go ahead and use the bigger side and just stamp the product on. So there's very little on there. And just tap it. That really looks pretty. Again, it's one of those products where nobody's going to notice. They'll just say, wow, you look really great today. Like you look very lively. I love when people would say to me, oh, your skin looks so great. That just warmed my heart after all the years I've struggled with acne. I was telling you in another video recently, I had more acne, and it was just stress related. And there you go. You could even apply a little above the lip. Let's try that. just barely touching. For me, I would be super happy just leaving the house with this NYX palette. But I wanted to show this blush. Recently at Walmart, this brand came out called Pretty Smart. Everything's under $10, I believe. The shade is number 40, Extra Pretty. And I think it is extra pretty. It just is a beautiful blush. So I'm going to use my switch and sort of clean off one of my brushes I used and go back in this. I bought it because it had a peachy brown look to it, this shade. And I love that shade. So let's pop on some of this and it'll just give me a little more color. Then I have some lipstick for you that is just out of sight. I really love this look so far, the way it's turning out. I'm really excited. I'm going to go ahead and take my bangs down. I just got my hair colored yesterday, and I love what she did with it. I had her add some darker pieces in here in the underlayers, and it sort of made the rest of the blonde really pop. So I'm super excited about what a great job she did. Now let's go on to lips. Revlon's come out with a bunch of new lipsticks, and I have 4 I want to share with you today, and I'm just loving them. I've shared some of the others they came out with before. Let's just wipe off the lip oil. And I think I want to start with my favorite, and that is a surprise to me because I thought the lighter shades would be my favorite, but this is called Whiskey Business. It's number 803, and I have to say this is like a throwback to the 90s. It's got a little bit of brown in it, some pink. I am just absolutely in love, and I'll be using that Revlon Jelly applicator to apply it. So I'm going to go right on to the lipstick and grab some. Now, the nice thing about this jelly applicator, you can build your lipstick. It's not going to go on so heavy like it would putting it on right out of the tube. It almost gives the lipstick the feel of a lip balm because you're applying such a thin amount. I want to go over this with the lipstick to show you that it can be more intense than this. It's thinner because of the applicator I used. I just love this shade. I think this is one I would actually buy a backup for. Of course, Revlon is so good about keeping lipstick shades around for a while. I love that about Revlon, and also bringing some back that were favorites for people. Now, this shade is Daylight Delight. This is a lighter shade, number 802, and it again is sort of got a little bit of pink, a little bit of peach, a little bit of brown. It's a real mixture. So I'm really curious too. Will you let me know after I show you all of these in the comments which one was your favorite? So this is Whiskey Business. This sponge is great for that too. Going around, if you're changing lipstick, I always need to go around with something because I'll have remnants left. This is Daylight Delight. I'm going to go ahead and just apply it out of the tube so you can see the full color of it. Now, I try so much lipstick, and I do want to say this lipstick here, I would say is the closest to MAC that I've ever used. I love MAC lipsticks. I know many of you do. And the formula of this, the feel of it, I would say if you put it in the MAC tube, I would think it's a MAC. And again, this is a cream, and it's called Daylight Delight. I think it's gorgeous. I am so excited about these new shades. I cannot believe it. So let's pick up a different one. This is Laid Back Lilac, and it definitely is a deeper shade. It's interesting that they came out with so many deeper shades. I think lipstick is going more that way, less of the washed out nude. I'm happy about it. How do you feel? I'm thrilled because those shades make me look terrible. So they just wash me out. I never get any compliments if I wear like a light nude. People will ask me, are you feeling okay? You look tired. So I try to stay away from those shades now. Okay, so this is Laid Back Lilac, which is number 811, and it's a cream. That's almost the same shade of my lips. I'm looking at it, and this is almost the exact of my lips, which my lips are very mauvey. So I'm going to start saying I have lilac lips. I like that better than mauvey. But this really is the closest I think I've ever come to my own lip shade. This is just really smooth on the lips. I am loving it. As you can tell, lipstick is my favorite, but eyeshadow is a close second. Now the next one is Fire Peach. This is 807, a totally different way to go. This is so bright. Let's see. Now this I haven't even tried yet. So this is our try-on for this lipstick. That's a nice thing I love about this serum too. You can add to it without any cakiness at all. So let's try this. I'm really curious how I'm going to like it. Wow, it looks a lot more pink than I thought. I thought it was going to look more coral. I actually really like this. I thought when I saw it, ooh, that's a little much for me, but I think it brought my face to life. I really like it. This would be something that would be such a great summer color or spring. Now, the last one I have to try is number 805, Candid Rose. And I typically love rose lipsticks. I think they look great on so many people, from fair skin to the deepest skin tone. So I think this would be more of maybe a universal shade that would look great on everyone. I can see this one definitely stains the lips. I'm super excited to try this. I can see the blue in the lipstick. I really like this. I think this would look great pretty much with anything I would wear. It looks wonderful with this blue top. Changes the look of the makeup. Isn't it interesting how lipstick can change how the other makeup looks? My favorite, I have to say, with the makeup I've applied today was the Whiskey Business. That's just my personal preference. Let me know which one of these lipsticks you thought looked best with the makeup I've already applied. Well, I'm going to go back to Whiskey Business. I just love that shade so much. I think because I love 90s makeup so much, this just looks like a product from the 90s, but better, I would say. Yep. I can definitely see the 90s influence in makeup this year. The shades they're coming out with, I can feel that little bit of retro. Now, before we leave, I definitely want to put on some setting spray. It is so hot here right now. My husband and I are going for a walk today. Then we're going to a museum. We have a few things we're going to do today, and I want my makeup still to look good despite the harsh weather. So I'm going in with the NYX matte finish. I've been using more matte setting sprays because I am so dewy on my own from the heat that we're having right now. And it's just the beginning. Here it is, just the end of June. And you can only imagine what July and August is going to be like. So I like to spray on a sponge and then just go over the skin, where I have more control of where the spray goes. And I didn't buff everything out like I said I was going to do, so we're going to do that too. I'm going to let this sit. And I see my capillaries around my nose, so I'm going to go back in. I never did any concealing except in the under eye before. So let's take the concealer and we'll just touch up there. Maybe add a little here to brighten up. And I'm just taking that wedge sponge and I'm going to go ahead and just lightly blend it out. Now you notice I didn't use any powder today on my face, and most days I don't. I'm not a big fan of powder. There are powders I love, but most days I don't. Now I really do love the new Urban Decay powder, the all-nighter, because it's waterproof and it's been so helpful this summer. But I wanted everything in the video to be affordable, and that powder I think ran $38. So I decided just to use the setting spray today. That works. My main thing for powder for me is keeping the makeup on. And setting spray does a great job of that. If you're worried about your under eye concealer disappearing, you can spray some of this and go right in the under eye. I'm going to just tap like this just to make sure that's going to stay. And any areas where you feel your makeup wears off, you could go back. I like to do a little bit here in the center of my forehead. That's where it tends to come off. I hope this video was helpful, and for those of you entering this new decade of 60, some of you are hitting that next sort of milestone, I think, 65. That's a big one too. My husband hit that this year, and I think these new decades just cause us to reflect a little more. What's working for us? What's not? Where do we want to go from here? So let me know in the comments if you've already had these birthdays, these milestones, how you felt, or when you hit 70 or 80. I have women that are over 80 that watch my channel, and I love that. That's my mom's generation. I love that generation. I actually just made a new friend who's 80. And I'm so excited because she has so much great advice and things to share with me, her wisdom. So I love having friends of all ages, but I feel so blessed now to have her in my life. And I just would love to hear from you. I wish you all the best. Everything's in the description of the video. I love you all so much. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you real soon.